there is a criticism of plant-based diet that people develop nutritional deficiencies or some vitamins deficiencies or arginine or lysine deficiencies. How does that work out? People, so they say that because of this, people cannot be on this diet for a longer time. Is this true?
No, absolutely not. Those are not even the amino acids that are low on a nutritarian diet, but on a plant-based diet. But nevertheless, it's possible to be low protein on a plant-based diet if you're not including beans and nuts and vegetables in your diet. If you're living on a limited amount of food, but it's just the same thing. If you eat a lot of processed foods and sugar and honey and oil and things that have no protein, but out of the 5 categories of plant food, let's take the 5 categories or 6 categories: fruits, vegetables, beans, nuts and seeds, whole grains, right? 5 categories. Out of that 5 categories, the only one low in protein is fruit, because both beans and nuts and greens and vegetables and even intact whole grains, not processed flours, are protein adequate. And the combination of having beans and greens and nuts and grains in your diet obviously gives you a broad spectrum of protein adequacy. However, if you're eating processed foods, sugar, and particularly putting oil on your food, just think about this for a minute, because we're using nuts as a source of fat instead of using nuts and seeds instead of using oil. So for every 100 calories of oil in place of eating 100 calories of nuts for the fat, I've just removed about 5 or 6 grams of protein in my diet. So I'm getting my protein from sesame seeds and sunflower seeds and hemp seeds, and I'm getting about 10 grams of protein per serving. And I removed that serving and put oil instead. I just took the 10 grams and put it out of my diet. So there's a lot of people, I think there were some studies on vegans from the UK, and I think that a lot of them, because they live on, bread and oil and sugar and tea, and they don't eat healthy enough. But the minute you start eating natural foods with the whole food intact and not processing the protein out of there, like take the oil off the nut, then it's pretty difficult to be low in protein. But the key here is that one of the keys here is that the problem with the American diet and the problem with the conventional omnivorous diet that most people eat, or the Mediterranean diet, is that the excess protein drives cellular replication and cancer promotion. So the lower level of high biological protein is an asset on a plant-based diet, because we're achieving with a variety of foods all the amino acids, but the body still has to have them in the bloodstream at the same time to maximally produce growth hormone. And when you eat animal protein, because of its high biological value, it's so easy to overshoot the amount of biological protein in the blood at one time, leading to excessive production of IGF-1, or insulin-like growth factor 1. And it's well established in the scientific literature that increasing levels of IGF-1 increase risk of prostate and breast cancer. So one of the drivers of cancer in general is the angiogenesis promoting effect of excess growth hormones, such as insulin and IGF-1. The sandwich of insulin, IGF-1, and estrogen, having elevated levels of all 3 of those hormones, sets the right biochemical conditions for cancer growth, particularly breast and prostate cancer. So by being on a plant-based diet, lowering the protein intake is one of the most beneficial parts of it. And the body can absolutely has the exposure to all those essential amino acids, if you have a variety of food and you don't eat processed foods.